Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here from KeepItKing77.com, and my iPhone 6s Plus 2-week challenge is over. It's time to do a full review of the device. For those of you that don't know, I mainly do videos on Android products. However, within this 2-week challenge, I use the iPhone 6s Plus as my daily driver and then give some thoughts on it. If you missed any of my other iPhone videos throughout the 2-week challenge, go ahead and check them out. They're going to be a lot more in-depth on certain things. However, this is my full review of the iPhone 6s Plus. All right, first of all, huge shout out to Slick Wraps. They made this 2-week challenge possible. They sent me this nice wood slick wrap for the phone. First, I want to discuss design. On the back here, you have a 12 megapixel camera, microphone, and LED flash. Absolutely nothing up at the top. On the left side of the device, you have 2 volume rockers. You have a switch to switch from ringer and silent mode. On the right side here is just a single power button and a SIM slot. Now down at the bottom of the device, you have speaker right here. You have a lightning connecting charging slot. Then you have a 3.5mm headphone jack next to a microphone. Now when it comes to the speaker, it's good quality, but it doesn't get loud enough. And in the placement-wise, it's a little annoying because when I play a game horizontally, I will block it because it's not on the front of the device. I wish it was on the front. It's better than being on the back. However, it just doesn't get loud enough. Sometimes I have to find myself having to cup the sound towards me just because it doesn't get loud enough. Now the device has a very premium feel to it. None of the buttons feel cheap in any way. It's a very overall premium device. On the front here you have an earpiece, you have some sensors, and a 5 megapixel front facing camera. And then you have a home button which also acts as a fingerprint scanner so I can unlock my device, make App Store purchases, use Apple Pay. Now, I said this in one of my other videos, but the fingerprint sensor is ridiculously fast. Check that out. I just pressed it with my thumb, and it goes right away. There are workarounds where I'll just kind of use the side of my thumb to check a notification on the lock screen. You can just use the power button. You can also use another finger that you haven't registered. And honestly, I'm used to it by now. I actually like how quick it is. It's really convenient when I just want to get to my phone and unlock it right away. I can just press the button, and it's there. Now, this is the iPhone 6s Plus, which is the larger of the two, and it has a 5.5-inch display. And honestly, the form factor is a little bit large considering it's a 5.5-inch display. To give you an idea of what I mean, here's the Galaxy Note 5, which actually has a 5.7-inch display, so a little bit larger. And you'll see the 6s Plus still is a little bit taller than that Galaxy Note 5. So a little annoying there. It is kind of large in my hand. Honestly, I think the Galaxy Note 5 is a little bit too large for me as well. Just overall, I wish they could have made the bezel to screen ratio a little bit better. Now, when it comes to that 5.5-inch Retina 1080p display, it's a really, really good 1080p display. I'm not going to lie. However, when you consider the price that you pay for this device, you should be getting the top-of-the-line display. So you should have a 1440p display in this device, but it doesn't. It's a little upsetting, especially with a 5.5-inch display. You kind of want to see higher technology, especially at the price that you pay. But overall, like I said, the colors look great. It's just a really good 1080p display, but they just should have had better technology in it. Now, the display also has 3D touch, which actually senses how hard you press on the screen to give you more options. And to be completely honest, it is awesome. I really, really like 3D touch. I have a full review on it, actually. I'll link to that in the description if you want to check that out. But there's so many different options that you have with 3D touch, and it's only going to get better. If developers actually take it on, it can get really, really good when implemented into certain applications and games, etc. Now, when it comes to that 12 megapixel camera on the back, it takes some pretty good shots. I mean, overall, it's just a really good camera. Now, the iPhone 6s Plus has optical image stabilization, so it's going to be better than the normal iPhone 6s. But overall, the quality is really good. You have live photos as well, which you can activate with 3D touch, so you see how the leaves are moving because it gives you a little preview image. And live photos really don't mean much to me. I don't see myself using it at all. You'll notice when I go back and go into the viewfinder live photos, you can activate right here. I have a full, more of talking about camera, actually. I'll link to that video in the description if you need a little bit more to talk about camera. But when it comes to low light, bright light situations, it does a really good job overall. It's just an overall really great camera. I do actually prefer the Galaxy Note 5 camera a little bit over it, but you cannot go wrong with it. You're going to be completely happy with the camera on this device. Now, I've said this for a couple of years. Something Apple does really well is optimize their software and hardware together. All right, now when it comes to performance, the iPhone 6s Plus has a 64-bit A9 processor. In my device, I have the Samsung processor, for those of you wondering. It has 2 gigabytes of RAM as well, which May not seem like a lot, but like I said, they optimize their software and hardware really well. So when I was multitasking, I didn't get too many apps having to reload all the time or anything like that. Let me go ahead and pause this game and press home. And overall, it's just really quick. It flies through multitasking, switching between apps. So if I go to the App Store, you'll see it's right here loaded up, ready to go. If I go over to the settings app, you'll see it's not reloading the settings app that was open a little while ago. Let's go ahead and go hop into Safari, and Safari's right there. I mean, just overall performance has been really good. I've been very impressed and pleased with it. Now, the big difference is when it comes to software, you got iOS 9.0.2. So let's go ahead and show it off. You pull down from the top, you have your notifications here if you had any. When it comes to notifications, the system's really bad. I actually have a video explaining it. I'll post a link in the description. I just kind of miss notification icons up at the top. It gets really cluttered for me sometimes. But then you swipe over and you have a list of widgets right here, which you can actually edit and change which ones actually show up. And I think it's really nice to have the integration where you can just swipe over between the two. I actually do like that a lot. And then when you want to get to quick settings, you swipe up from the bottom. You have music controls, you have brightness, volume, you have these toggles right up here, and then you have shortcuts to the flashlight, the camera. One thing I do really wish they had is a shortcut to the settings app. There's really not. To kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about, I mentioned this in another video, but if I go to shoot a video, and you'll see it's in 60 frames per second at the moment. If I want to go and change how many frames per second that is, I need to go out of the camera app, go into the settings app, find the camera option, and then change it within there. And it's just a little cumbersome. Just overall, yes, you can say, Siri, take me to settings, but no one really wants to say that to their phone. Now, one thing I noticed on iOS is that scrolling is actually a little bit slower than it is on Android. So when you actually really flick hard, it doesn't scroll all the way to the bottom of the page like it will on Android. So that's just a personal preference of yours if you prefer the slower scrolling or quicker scrolling. Now, one thing I tried out for the first time is iMessage, and I really, really like it. It's awesome. Definitely something Android lacks when it comes to the operating system. And then FaceTime's a nice integration as well. If you need more information on that, I'll post my explanation in the description. Now, when it comes to the stock keyboard on iOS 9, the autocorrection is fantastic. I rarely have to go back and change words. It's really amazing. One thing I missed, though, is that it doesn't have swipe, so if I'm using it with one hand, it's a little harder to type. Obviously, you can go to the App Store and get third-party keyboards if you don't like this one. Now, when it comes to battery life, I have a video giving you more statistics on battery. I'll link to that, but it's very good. It gets me through the day, honestly. One thing I wish it could have, charging could be a little faster, but I was told using an iPad charger actually will charge your device faster. But like I said, I never really have to worry about having to charge it at all in the middle of the day. It gets me through the end of the day every single day. Now, something that actually is a little annoying is that when you're in an application using data, let's say I'm in YouTube and I want to pull down the status bar, it pauses the video, which is a little strange because there's times when I'm watching a video not just to watch what's on there, but also listen to it, and sometimes I want to check my notifications, and you'll see it just completely pause the video. Even when I'm playing a game, and it's an online game, it disconnects from the server whenever you pull down that status bar, and that's just something I personally don't like. You might be okay with it. That's just something I noticed that was kind of annoying. And of course, overall, when it comes to launchers, you can't really customize it. You don't have an app drawer, no widgets on the home screen. Your widgets are up, like I said, in this pull-down bar. So that's just a personal thing. There's not nearly as many customizations as you can make, such as third-party texting apps or, like I said, launchers, etc. So, I mean, overall, that's just a personal thing. I prefer having an app drawer personally, but that's something I've always had. All right, now I just want to give some final thoughts, let you guys know if I'm actually going to switch over to the iPhone, and I've actually been pleased using it as my daily driver. It's a little difficult not being completely into the Apple ecosystem, not having a Mac, maybe Apple TV, that would be nice as well. However, I still enjoyed using it. It's a premium device for sure. You cannot deny the camera's great. Battery life is really good, and overall, it's just a speedy device. It's quick, running through processes. Anything you throw at it, it handles it well. And with that being said, I'm actually going to take my SIM card out of the device and switch over. I'm not going to switch over to the iPhone. This 2-week challenge was great, though. I love just all technology, so it's nice to give you a different perspective on other devices as well. I might start doing Windows 10 phones as well. We'll see. Hint, hint. But anyways, that's pretty much it. That's my 2-week challenge. Ending it off. Hopefully you enjoyed the series. If you missed any of my previous videos, I'll link to the playlist in the description. But that's my iPhone 6s Plus full review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Click that thumbs up if you did. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. All links in the description of the video below. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching.